Guys, here we are so far into this 2024 NFL season, and we still haven't really done a whole lot of talk about the NFL draft on this channel, but I do want to put some more out there. I do want to put a little bit of a note out there on the offensive tackle class I have here, NFL Draft Buzz. I I think their rankings here are okay. I think there are a couple of egregiously misplaced prospects, but it is what it is. It's a free service. But number one here, Kelvin Banks. This is absolutely where you have to start this class. Kelvin Banks out of Texas, and by the way, Texas will have a second. So Kelvin Banks Jr. is a top 10 pick, probably. I think almost definitely. Kelvin Banks is an offensive tackle from Texas. Texas will have another first-round offensive tackle. I think probably a top 20 offensive tackle. And they have a potential first-round offensive guard. Texas has 3 of the top 10 or 12 offensive linemen in this draft. An absolutely mad statistic there from Texas. Now, 6'4", 320 pounds, so he's not going to be the longest athlete out there. He's not going to have all that much reach. I don't know if I have any insights on his actual arm length numbers. I haven't heard those, I guess I should say. But what you're looking at here is a guy that he's got the weight, right? 320 pounds, but only 6'4". He's got the strength. He's got the movement abilities. He has everything you need on the field to start at offensive tackle. I think that with him, you were looking at a left tackle. You were looking at the floor for Kelvin Banks, I think might be a Pro Bowl right tackle. So that being the floor for a prospect is absolutely something that is tantalizing to an NFL team. Like I say, the main selling point here with Kelvin Banks is his effectiveness. He is someone who is effective on the field, and that's kind of all there is really to say on a level like this here. So I'm going to go ahead and go with someone next that they have ranked 12th. Guys, this might be my number 2 offensive tackle in the class. Aireontae Ersery out of Minnesota. This is a guy who has 6'6", 330 pounds. I imagine he's going to have 34-inch arms. You look at him and you kind of see that in there. This is a very strong individual. He's a guy that shows that strength on the field. You see right here, exceptional run blocker, consistently creating lanes. This is the type of offensive tackle that the Kansas City Chiefs are kind of angling towards, the kind of offensive lineman the Kansas City Chiefs have been angling towards recently, a power-blocking offensive lineman who has the length for their respective position. Now, with that, however, comes the same thing that these offensive tackles often struggle with, which is speed rushers coming off the edge. He does not have the quickest feet, but I think he has very good feet. So I think that when you're looking at someone like Aireontae Ersery, you're looking at someone who might have the highest ceiling in the class. You're looking at a guy that Mizzou let get away. So the potential highest ceiling in the class comes from the fact that he is strong as an ox, comes from the fact that he will have that length, comes from the fact that he does have movement abilities, even if he is not looking to be the fleetest tackle out there. So, yeah, I think Aireontae Ersery might be my number 2 tackle, not based on what he's done on the field. So there's going to be a couple other guys above him for what they've done on the field. But I think when you are factoring in the potential here, you're looking at a guy that has the potential to be the best offensive tackle out of this class. So, is my internet frozen here? Here we go. The next guy I want to talk a little bit about is Will Campbell out of LSU. 6'6", 323 pounds. This is a guy that people think is going to move to offensive guard potentially. It's sort of in the same vein as Peter Skoronski a couple years ago. He has plus size on Skoronski at 6'6", 323, but he does have some of the same shortcomings with the strength, but he has wrestler strength, if that makes any sense. He's not a guy that's going to just come out and blow a guy off of his feet, right? He's not going to destroy someone in the football side of things. Well, it's going to be in the football side of things, but not like a football player does things. He will destroy people like Peter Skoronski does, where he is constantly getting you to the right angle that he wants. And opening up running lanes, throwing off your pass rush, things like that. But like you see here, remarkable footwork. That is the thing. He's got remarkable footwork, which is very much like, if I could offer this out there, Creed Humphrey, right? So you're not talking about very, very good footwork like an offensive tackle. You're talking about good footwork like an interior lineman, where you always have your feet in the right place, but you're not delivering absolutely smashing blows to the defensive lineman. So I think that he will stick at offensive tackle in the NFL. I think that he might have right tackle written all over him, but I think that, sticking at tackle is sticking at tackle. And I think that those are the reasons everyone says he's going to be a guard in the NFL, is that he does struggle with some of the strength stuff. But really, you're looking at someone who, again, is like Kelvin Banks, executing. So he has the height that Kelvin Banks doesn't. But, we'll see what their cone drills and stuff look like. The next guy I want to talk about is Cameron Williams, another offensive tackle out of Texas, 6'5", 335 pounds. This is a guy who a lot of people have falling since the start of the season. A lot of people had him as offensive lineman number 3 heading into the year, things like that. But he has maybe not played up to those expectations this year. I don't know that he hasn't. I think that what you have seen this season may not be a step forward from Cameron Williams, but I think that it has been him kind of strengthening the walls, if you will. Like the Chiefs like here, he is a nasty demeanor finisher. This is a guy who, they have it here, heavy hands. So this is a guy who does have the offensive tackle strength, is throwing those things out there and changing someone's projection the way that he wants that person to go. Cameron Williams is the sort of, if I were to comp him, look, it might be Kingsley Suamataia in last year's rise and fall, right? Kingsley Suamataia was for a while considered to be a first rounder, ended up going in the second. I think Cameron Williams might be on that same trajectory, but I think this is a first round player. That's why I wanted to highlight him with this first group of players. Cameron Williams is going to start at offensive tackle in the NFL for a very long time. Is he a left tackle? I don't know. I don't know that he's the left tackle that you want. The last guy I want to talk about here, I think, is the last first rounder here. I have 5 first round grade offensive tackles, and that is Wyatt Milum from West Virginia, 6'6", 317 pounds. And the thing here is he an offensive tackle? Yes. Is he able to be a left tackle? Perhaps. I think this is the lowest ceiling offensive tackle of the first round guys. When you're looking at his game, You're looking at someone, they say here, elite pass protector. I'm not sure that holds up in the NFL. You look here, impressive athleticism for someone his size, demonstrated by his 92nd percentile 40-yard dash of 5 seconds. I'm not sure about that 40-yard dash. I'm not sure how real it is. I don't know where it happened. I don't know that I buy the athletic claims here. What do I mean when I say he is the lowest ceiling of the first-round offensive tackles? I think his strength is what it is. His length, I imagine, is going to be right at the 33. So he's 6'6", but when you look at him, he's not one of these super long guys. So I imagine that he's going to have average arm length. He does not have a lot of bend, in my opinion. He's a guy that I think is passable everywhere. He doesn't stand out anywhere. Will he play offensive tackle in the NFL? Yes. Will he start? I think probably his rookie season, almost definitely. Will that be at left tackle? Maybe. Will it be a standout? Will he be a standout left tackle? I don't know that will ever be the case. I think that he could be a plus right tackle. I don't know that I think that he could be a liability at left tackle. Now, looking at the rest of these guys here, Josh Conerly, who they have ranked third out of Oregon, 6'4", 315 pounds. I think this is a couple years ago, the Rams took, I can't remember the offensive tackle's name right now, very top of the first pick in the second round. I can't remember who it was right now off the top of my head. I think that is the type of guy that you're going to get with Josh Conerly. I think that he has a lot of the traits that you want in an offensive tackle. I don't know that he is ready to play quite yet at the NFL level. You see here, elite foot speed, powerful punch, but he is inconsistent. So I don't know that that is going to translate very well. I think that this becomes a project day two guy that you end up with a multi-year starter, and I think this could be a left tackle for you. I think that he could be a left tackle in the making. It's just one of those things that you have to invest a little bit of coaching in him to get him there. So are you willing to pull that trigger in the first round, wait a little while, or throw him to the Wolves? I don't know. Josh Simmons, who they have at fifth here, 6'5", 310 pounds, out of Ohio State. This is a jag to me, just a guy. I could be wrong, but he seems to me kind of like Wyatt Milum, but not as good at anything. Now, I could be proven completely wrong in the testing department. I don't think that will be the case. I think he's a guy that could start, I think that he is he's Wanya Morris without the punch, I think. So take that for what you will. They have here number 6, Armand Membou. Armand Membou has made himself into almost definitely a second-round pick, maybe a third-round pick. 6'3", 314 pounds. So you're getting a guy who is going to be lacking the length, but lacking the height. But I think it's interesting because I think he can play offensive tackle at the NFL. I think it's going to be interesting just watching him move. I think he could have incredible cone drill numbers. And if that is the case, you will see him get to fail at tackle, but he would definitely have a future at the offensive guard position. I just think that he's good enough that he will be able to play offensive tackle in the NFL, and you get the super athletic Bruce Feldman's freak list denotation here, At 6'3", 320 pounds, Membou has only 18% body fat, a very low number for a young offensive lineman that big. Membou also moves exceptionally well for that size. He had an electronic 10-yard time of 1.63, and his 20 was 2.8. He also had a vertical leap of 32 inches and squatted 600 pounds. The impressive athleticism and nimbleness for his size, displaying fluid movement skills when mirroring edge defenders. All of that is a plus. The negative is going to be a little bit of the lower body strength. He's not really a road grader in the traditional sense, but he's got the athleticism to always be in the right place at the right time. So I think that you are looking at a guy, if you end up taking Armand Membou in the second round, you're looking at a guy who is going to have a career with your team. And a couple other names here. Ozzy Trapilo. Trapilo, 6'8", 309 pounds. You're getting an expensive Ethan Driscoll. Ethan Driscoll, in my opinion, does almost everything, at least almost as well as does Ozzy here. So I think that this is a guy who is just overvalued in this rankings here. I think he's a guy who can play in the NFL, but he's going to take a little bit of time to get there. And then you always have to take some time with a Georgia offensive tackle. 6'4", 320 pounds. I believe he's a redshirt sophomore, which makes him eligible. This is Earnest Greene III. Very strong name. So basically, from what I can tell, everything this site says about him is true. Prototypical size for an offensive lineman. He's a little bit short, but not, 6'4", 6'5" is where you'd like to. That's the prototype. Displays above average lateral agility, demonstrates initial punch and placement, positional versatility with experience at tackle and guard, exhibits a physical style in the running game, shows good awareness and pass protection, strong lower body, what Georgia offensive lineman doesn't, comes from a Georgia program with a track record of developing NFL caliber offensive tackles. But the weaknesses, tends to play with a high pad level. You can correct that. Needs improvement in pass set depth. You can correct that. Hand timing and placement can be inconsistent, but he has active hands and he has heavy hands. You can improve the timing and placement. That's what coaches are for. Sometimes overextends when reaching for defenders. You coach that out of him. Kick slide technique requires refinement, but it's not saying that his feet are too heavy. I think that Earnest Greene III is a sneaky pick that could be a second rounder and will end up starting for multiple seasons in the NFL. Guys, that's kind of what I'm looking at with the offensive tackles at this point. I have no real sleepers yet in this class. Hopefully, I will get there as the season goes on. The upside with Aireontae Ersery is extreme. The upside with Wyatt Milum is limited. The upside with Kelvin Banks is that he is a Pro Bowl left tackle. The upside with Will Campbell is that he is a left tackle. And the upside with Cameron Williams is kind of that everyone has been wrong during the course of this season in downgrading him in this class. Fortunately for the Kansas City Chiefs, this seems to be a very deep class at offensive tackle. Unfortunately for the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't know that there are very many true left tackles in this class. That seems to be what the Kansas City Chiefs need going into this offseason. I have not lost hope for Kingsley Suamataia. I have not lost hope for Wanya Morris. Unfortunately, I think they are better suited for the right side. I think that Wanya Morris has shown promise as a left tackle this season. Kingsley Suamataia has always seemed to me to be a better fit at right tackle, as has Wanya Morris for clarity's sake. But I think that Kingsley Suamataia could also be an extremely elite offensive guard. So we will see what the future holds for these positions. That's all I have for this video. If you like or appreciate what it is I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other Kansas City Chiefs fans. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, the Chiefs are the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And I hope to have you back for the next one.